Hey, my wife wanted to buy a slide for our kids, so naturally I said, I can make one. Let me show you how I made it happen. I went ahead and built a frame. As you can see, I chose narrow pieces of wood because I wasn't too worried about the strength. You saw that the slide was installed on some steps. If on the other hand I wanted the slide to be freestanding, I would have surely gone for something thicker. So in terms of how I made the frame, I cut the pieces of wood to the desired length for 3 different sections. I've added several horizontal bars to make the structure more rigid. I cut the wood halfway at each junction to make lap joints. I also raised the sides to the slide diagonal, just so that they prevented my kids from flying off of the slide. Up to this point, everything was held together with staples, but it's time to properly install the frame in its final place. You know, at some point during the project my wife came to me and she said, "Ooh, I really can't wait for you to finish. I want to have a go myself." I turned around thinking that I'd better put some extra screws. I designed this for 2 toddlers, not some adults. But in all honesty, I'm really glad that I made it strong enough. I had plenty of fun on it myself. Now that I secured the top and the midsections, I can tidy up the part where they meet and proceed to the bottom. I wanted to raise this section, partly because it's easier to stand up after a slide, but also I didn't want the wood to decompose while touching the ground. The whole thing is starting to look really nice, and it's becoming easier and easier to imagine how it will look in the end. Finally, adding the sides completes the frame. Now for the really exciting part, sheet aluminum. I've never worked with a piece so large. It's 2.2 by half a meter. That's roughly the same as slightly over 7 feet by 1 2/3 of a foot. I've ordered just the correct size to minimize wastage. I was only required to cut out small rectangles of each of the corners. My jigsaw was perfect for the job. I was also able to snap the metal by rocking it back and forth. This achieved a very clean and straight cut. I was working with 0.9 mm of a thickness, by the way. This is equivalent to 35 mils. Here you can see me bending the midsection. Even though the aluminum was very thin, it proved to be quite difficult to bend it. But then again, being so thin, it was hard to bend it uniformly along its entire length. Oh, there's something special about peeling the protective film off, whether it would be aluminum, acrylic, or anything else. For me, it signifies the transition from being just a raw material and into something more, a completed project. And in the case of aluminum, it reveals a lovely shine. Thanks to careful planning, it fits like a glove, and I'm only left with bending some edges away and driving some screws in. As you can see, using staples when making the frame was not a problem. The aluminum sheet envelopes the frame, giving it all the strength that it might ever need. When designing the slide, I was very intentional to put all the screws around the edges, so that none of them could be caught when sliding down. Now for every screw, I'm making a dent so that my drill doesn't slip. I'm making a little hole, and finally putting a screw in. Finally, off camera, I used the file to smooth on all the rough corners just to make extra sure that it's safe for my toddlers to play. And once again, peeling the protective film is something special. I feel like cutting a red tape in front of a new building. It's like smashing a champagne bottle, christening the new boat. I can't wait to show this off to my boys. Unfortunately, as I'm finishing, it's starting to rain. My boys will have to wait a little longer. It gives me so much pleasure making these two happy, and I really appreciate you being a part of it. If you enjoyed this project, click that thumbs up button, and please consider subscribing for the future videos. In the meanwhile, by clicking the on-screen link, you can see my previous project. Thanks for watching, and until next time!